NXT's Halloween Havoc is over, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. When I tell you it was a mix of like fun, excitement, shocking, there was a whole lot of this show. And if you guys go back to my watch along, I gave it a 9 out of 10 in its rating. But we have to talk about why it was shocking. And in today's video, we are going to do just that. Halloween Havoc has now gone, and it is now past us, but we have to talk about all the things that went down. So without further ado, guys, if you're new here, definitely be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel. Those are the two most important things that you guys can do. Let's get into the video. So kicking off the night, we had JEVON Evans and Leon Slater taking on Mr. Iguana and PARKA. Now, this match was really special, and it wasn't just special because of the guys that were involved in the match, but it was also very special because there were 3 different promotions that were being showcased in this match. You had WWE, you had AAA, and you had TNA, and I think that's something that needs to be talked about within itself. The wrestling industry is so healthy right now, and this was just proof of that. You had 3 different companies being showcased in this match. You know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we would have never had this conversation, and we would have never been talking about something like this. But that's not even the most shocking thing that happened in this match. There were so many spots. I mean, Mr. Iguana and Lyeska being a part of the match and how they utilized Lyeska was amazing. I loved every single second of it. You had so many fun spots, and that is to be expected in a match like this. JEVON Evans and Leon Slater, Mr. Iguana, PARKA, you knew that this match started the show because they wanted to start it off hot, and NXT did just that. They started the night off blazing hot. I mean, the speed, the athleticism, the cool spots, everything was involved in this match. It wasn't for any championships. It wasn't anything like that. It was just 4 guys going out there and having an outstanding tag team match. And I must say, Leon Slater, JEVON Evans, those 2 guys, they mesh so well in this role as a tag team. And later in the night, we'll get into it, but there was a part where Leon Slater had mentioned, no, he's got to get back to the X division, whatever. But really, at the end of the day, these guys, they mesh so well. And I want to see more of them on my TV screen. I really do. And, you know, another thing that needs to be talked about is the PARKA character and, you know, the history behind the PARKA character. 30 years. Just so cool to see PARKA get that spotlight as well. I mean, I can't say any more good things about this match other than it was exciting, fast, blazing hot. Everything that you wanted. Leon Slater and JEVON Evans would pick up the victory, rightfully so. I do think that there is a future tag team championship there for those 2 guys. And again, we're going to kind of get into that later in the night. We'll talk about where JEVON Evans and Leon Slater fit in. But, I mean, they kicked off the night so fast. They even had Leon Slater, JEVON Evans. They had like matching fits on. It was so dope to see. I loved every second of it. But ultimately, you guys can let me know how you felt about that match. Following that blazing hot match, I was like, oh, I don't know if it can get any faster or if it can get any more exciting. Well, lied to myself there. There was Ethan Page and Dr. Wagner Jr. These 2 had a Day of the Dead match. It was for the NXT North American Championship. The Day of the Dead match, I said it in my live stream, it reminded me so much of the Pitch Black match. If you guys remember the Pitch Black match, it was Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Now, obviously, not the same exact thing, but there was definitely a lot of resemblance with the match. And I was a big fan of that because I'm a big Bray Wyatt guy, huge fan of the guy. And Ethan Page and Dr. Wagner Jr., you didn't think that maybe their chemistry would mesh as well as it did, but it really did. Like, they meshed super well inside of the ring. I loved every single second of this match. Ethan Page had this cool face paint on, which I think was like just very cool in general. One thing I've been saying since, you know, at least the last 4 or 5 months, Ethan Page, hands down, is the greatest North American champion of all time. And tonight, I definitely thought we were going to see Ethan Page go up to the main roster. I thought he was going to drop the championship, and if he did it to a guy in AAA, there was nothing wrong with that because AAA is obviously North America. And on top of that, Dr. Wagner Jr. is such an incredible talent. But instead, what we got is we had this moment where Ethan Page pulled off the mask of Dr. Wagner, but he didn't get it off all the way. He was actually only able to get like the top half off where Dr. Wagner's mouth was still covered and things like that. So they didn't fully rip it off, which I'm a fan of because Dr. Wagner Jr., obviously, he's probably not going to be in the WWE forever. Don't do that to him. Don't do that to him. But I understand why you do it. Ethan Page is the bad guy. You want to have that emotion, and that was really how NXT decided to drive that emotion into you, Shawn Michaels. That's how they drove that emotion into you, because that is the moment where you thought, like, okay, there's a chance that Dr. Wagner could win, because you've seen it in his face. He kind of got really pumped up, and he was just, his adrenaline started flowing after that mask was pulled off. And then later in the match, you would see Ethan Page. He ended up throwing, it reminded me of LeBron James when he does the thing on the announcer table and all the dust goes everywhere. Ethan Page blew that dust back into Dr. Wagner, which obviously would have blinded him, and then Ethan Page put him through a table. Ethan Page picks up the 1-2-3, retains the championship. Still don't know when Ethan Page is going to be going up to the main roster, but I can imagine that it's probably going to be happening soon. It's still something I'm very hopeful, if I'm being quite honest. It's something that I want to see anyways. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you guys can let me know how you felt about this match here in general. So Sol Ruca actually came out this past Tuesday, talked about her injury, and you've seen her walk out. ZARIA would be defending the championship, the North American Championship, against Blake Monroe, and she would be defending it in the honor of Sol Ruca. Now, I'm going to tell you guys off rip, my expectations were very high. I actually thought that we may see some type of heel turn or something along those lines. That wasn't the case. Apparently, they just wanted to get the championship onto somebody new very quickly and do it the right way. And obviously still tell the story of ZARIA and Sol Ruca. Now, ZARIA would defend again in the honor of Sol Ruca, and there were numerous spots in this match. It was ZARIA, Blake Monroe, but the real story here was ZARIA and Sol Ruca. You could see that they weren't necessarily meshing in all the spots that they needed to mesh in. I think it was ZARIA that got tripped up by Sol Ruca on accident. I think Blake Monroe caused it, but obviously that was essentially the turning point of the match, and you would see later that Blake Monroe would actually get the one up on ZARIA, get the 1-2-3. The match overall, this was, for me, it was an exciting moment, number one, because I think it needs to be mentioned that Blake Monroe is the first ever person to hold not only an AEW championship, but a WWE championship within the same year. So that's some shocking facts for you guys. But Blake Monroe, she deserved it, really. But I do feel like that this match in particular, it was like a down point in some cases. And Blake Monroe winning the championship, I think, was overlooked because of the Sol Ruca ZARIA situation, because I know I kind of rushed through it here, but really the whole point of this match was the ending. I thought we were going to see some type of either crazy false finish or some type of turn at the end, and we just obviously did not get that. But ultimately, there's no shine to take away from Blake Monroe. She is obviously such an outstanding talent and is so remarkable at the role that she plays and did such a tremendous job. And she is now the North American champion. I can imagine you're going to see her go on and do some awesome things. Blake Monroe is so deserving of this. Going from AEW, switching into the WWE, and having numerous title opportunities or feud with Jordan Grace, all of these different things. Now ZARIA and Sol Ruca. It's so amazing. And now we're going to see this title defended in more of a heelish role. So that should be interesting to see. I personally am very much going to miss that championship on Sol Ruca. You guys have no idea. Because let's be real here, that Soul Snatcher is the best finisher in the WWE, and it is the greatest thing to watch. So it does suck, and I'm very sad to see Sol Ruca not have that championship. But once she gets back, I can imagine we're going to see that kind of dwindling friendship between her and ZARIA kind of fade to black, no pun intended. But ultimately, you guys can let me know your thoughts on that one down in the comments section below. You have now reached the most climactic point of the night. Tatum Paxley takes on JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, going into this, I didn't have crazy high expectations. In fact, I definitely thought this was going to be just another match that they just kind of threw on a PLE just to throw it on there because they needed to have the NXT Women's Championship defended, but it was so much more than that. So, Tatum Paxley, obviously, alongside the Coling, and JC Jane, also alongside Fatal Influence, comes out, and again, they have this one-on-one match. The Coling gets involved in some capacities, Fatal Influence gets involved in some capacities, and it feels like throughout the match that, okay, we're just going to give this match to JC Jane, and we're going to kind of walk away from it and be like, okay, well, we did see a title at least change hands, with Blake Monroe winning the championship, but it was so much more than that. Later in the match, you would see the Coling and Fatal Influence. They get into it outside of the ring, and then the referee would kick them both out. They would be gone. So the match now strictly is one-on-one, and in my head, I was like, oh, man, okay, maybe JC Jane is just going to win this match thoroughly because maybe somebody new comes out and attacks Tatum or something along those lines. Lyra Cost there. I don't know. There were so many things that ran through my head in those moments, but that actually wasn't the case at all. They actually had a one-on-one match until the very last minute or so of the match, where you would see Sean Spears come out alongside, I want to say it's Brendan Vance. I can never remember his name. I feel so bad. I hope that's his name. If not, I'm botching it completely. You guys can let me know down in the comment section below. But him and Vance come out, and then you see Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed come out behind them and start, grabbing them and choking them. And then what would happen is you would see Izzy Dame over by the championship, and it looked like she was about to hit Tatum Paxley, and you can kind of see on Tatum's face, she was just in shock. Oh man, I'm about to get turned on. Now, she would charge Tatum Paxley, and then she would hit her. She wouldn't hit her with the championship. Tatum would duck. Tatum ducked the championship, and then Izzy got hit. I mean, it was a strong punch by JC Jane, and that obviously caused a distraction for Tatum Paxley to ultimately hit her finisher, get the 1-2-3, and become the new NXT Women's Champion. Now, obviously, Tatum Paxley is somebody who has been in NXT for quite some time, and she's been through the highs of NXT, and she's been through the lows of them. She is very deserving of this. If anybody is deserving, it is her. I have to say, that, to me, was the greatest moment of the night. So, if you even just wanted to know anything that happened tonight, this is the one thing to know. Tatum Paxley is your new NXT Women's Champion in some of the most unexpected fashion. And I just want to give a big shout out to JC Jane as well, who has just done a tremendous job at holding down NXT. After winning the championship from Stephanie Vakir in such shocking fashion, she then would allow, not only her, but NXT in general, she would allow somebody else to win that championship in such shocking fashion. So credit and hats off to JC Jane, somebody who is so underrated and so underappreciated in so many ways, truthfully did something so great for a talent who truly deserved it. So I feel like we have to give JC Jane her flowers here. But ultimately, the real question is what's next for Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley? I do think that Izzy Dame is ultimately going to become jealous in this sense, and you are going to see Tatum kind of become that favorite. Obviously, Sean Spears so excited, she's bringing gold back to the Culling, and then Izzy wants to be the top dog, but now she's being overshadowed. So Tatum is now Izzy, and Izzy is now Tatum. She's that loner. She's going to be that one who becomes sad. She's going to be the one crying. All of those things, and I think that's such a beautiful story. I love every single second of it. So, for me, this was the most shocking moment of the night. I couldn't believe it. You go back and watch the watch-along. You can go to my TikTok and look at the clips and all of those things. You can literally see it. It happened. I was so shocked. Unbelievable. You guys can let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below about how you feel about Tatum Paxley becoming the new NXT Women's Champion. If if you thought the night was over there, it was not. We still had DARKSTATE taking on the Hardys in a Broken Rules match. As you guys know, they did bring back Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy this past Tuesday, and we would find ourselves in a Broken Rules match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Now, this was a spot fest. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. This really was. It was a spot fest all over the place. You seen Jeff Hardy doing Jeff Hardy stuff. I remember there was a point in the match where Matt Hardy kind of looked at Jeff Hardy, and in the watch along, I said to myself, oh man, every time Matt points to something, I always get really nervous for Jeff. I don't know why, because obviously Matt's never going to be the one to take the spots. It's always going to be Jeff. And Jeff got on top of, it was a giant ladder. And he did a swanton bomb, and he missed. And I was like, oh my God, how did they pull away with this? How at, late 40s, early 50s, do guys go up there and put their bodies legitimately on the line for our pure entertainment? It's so mind-boggling to me. Keep in mind, this is Halloween Havoc. It's not like this crazy PLE or anything along those lines. It is just Halloween Havoc, a part of NXT. The Hardys are the true definition of we will do anything for the fans, and I think that needs to be spoken about within itself. And the match overall was really good. All 4 members of DARKSTATE were involved. Now, I think the one downside of the match is we didn't see any like crazy returns or debuts or anything like that. I felt like if there was ever going to be a moment, this would have been the time where it could have been accepted. Like, this felt like the time where it's like, okay, if we do something and we do bring people in, this is the moment in time where I feel like it's welcomed, and whether that have been the Righteous potentially or also Private Party, like those 2 teams felt like, okay, maybe they can come help the Hardys, they can turn on the Hardys, whatever. There were numerous opportunities within this. But one other thing that I mentioned is that the Hardys were so welcoming to DARKSTATE. DARKSTATE really got all of their stuff off. Saquon, Sugars, Deion Lennox, all of them. They got all of their stuff off, and it was so beautiful to see, because obviously that just means the Hardys feel some type of way about these guys, and that is so awesome. And then one other big nod that I have to give is not only did we see Broken Matt Hardy, but we also seen Brother Nero, and Brother Nero came out in tribute to Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. And obviously it's Halloween, and Bray Wyatt was the definition of Halloween, right? He was that spooky, scary character, and just to see that, nod on just, it's a Saturday night, there's nothing crazy going on, there's some college football games, just, again, stealing the show. I mean, in some cases, they tore the house down, bro. Like, there's no other way to describe it. Like I said, late 40s, early 50s, these guys are going out there and putting their bodies legitimately on the line for our entertainment's sake. And that has to be credited. It truly does. So, I don't know. I've always been just a real fan of the Hardys, and I loved Jeff growing up. Of course, just no different than any other kid. It's just so awesome to see them go out there. And I should mention that Jeff and Matt would go on to lose the match, because after that big spot, Jeff would end up taking another spot through a table, because why wouldn't he? You know what I'm saying? Where Deion Lennox jumped off a ladder into the ring. It was an awesome spot, but the Hardys would go on to lose, and they lost the NXT Tag Team Championships, but man, was it done in quite beautiful fashion. I can't lie to you. It was amazing. So another thing that I want to mention, because I know we talked about it a little bit earlier with JEVON Evans and Leon Slater. Later, they would go on to have like a little backstage segment where JEVON Evans would say like, hey man, we're pretty good with, we're pretty good as a tag team. Maybe we should have gone out there and we should have helped the Hardys. And Leon Slater, no, we shouldn't have done that. And he was like, oh, I guess we do have unfinished business with DARKSTATE, because they got involved with our match at Bound for Glory. As you guys know, JEVON and Leon Slater faced each other for the X Division Championship at Bound for Glory, and DARKSTATE would get involved. So I think this is going to ultimately lead to DARKSTATE and Leon and JEVON having a match, and maybe we see Leon Slater and JEVON Evans win the Tag Team Championships, which I think is the right thing to do, considering the fact that you've had many opportunities to give the NXT World Championship to JEVON Evans, and you could have gave him the X Division Championship. It feels like a crime that this guy has yet to see a championship. It truthfully does. I must say, it feels criminal, the fact that he doesn't have one yet. I know he's still young and things like that, but the waves that he's been making and the opportunities that he's had, we still have yet to give him that. But it does look like there is a potential that we see JEVON Evans, Leon Slater go out, face DARKSTATE for the NXT Tag Team Championships and ultimately win. And maybe they don't win it right away. Maybe it's later down the line, but I do think that that's a world that could happen. Maybe Stand and Deliver is always a thought process in my mind. If you want to tell like a very deep, long story with these guys and really get it rooted into things, you definitely have the opportunity to do so. But ultimately, you guys can let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below about the Hardys and DARKSTATE and then the JEVON and Leon stuff. You can let me know all of your thoughts on that down in the comments. Guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt your viewing experience. I promise you I will be quick. There is a link at the top of the description below. There you guys will find my Patreon. My Patreon offers some exclusive content for the members. It is only $2 a month. There you will get exclusive content along with our watch-alongs. That include Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, Tuesday Night's NXT, along with pay-per-views and more content. So guys, for $2 a month, you can get all of this. It's very awesome. It's very cool. Also, we have the Discord down below where if you need some more information, make sure you reach out there. That is all I have for you. I promise you. Now, let's hop back into the video. When I tell you that there is nothing like a Ricky Saints match, I quite literally mean that. But I'll be 100% honest with you guys and tell you that as much as I wanted to like Ricky Saints versus Trick Williams, it just didn't do everything for me. Now, here's the thing. Ricky Saints is a great promo. He really is. And not only that, he's a very good wrestler. But it felt like maybe we didn't have enough for this match for people to genuinely be engaged. And maybe it was how exciting the rest of the night was that this match, not everybody was fully engaged. It was a very good match. It was the main event. We seen Trick Williams and Ricky Saints go they go one-on-one, and it's for the NXT Championship. Obviously, Trick Williams is trying to win his third NXT Championship. But ultimately, that would not be the case, and that wouldn't be the case because Ricky Saints would end up hitting him with the DDT off the ropes. It was nice to see, and then he hit him with that Stun Dog Millionaire. That was a beautiful, beautiful way, and the spear, such a beautiful spear. But the one thing that they really played into was the table spot. Ricky kind of got busted open through the match, and you seen Trick Williams, again, kind of really play into that table spot, and then he would put him through the table with the bookend. And shout out to Booker T, because Booker T all over commentary really wanted Trick Williams to win. You could like sense it off the top. This guy wanted Trick Williams to win. There was nothing about it, because even at the end of the match, spoiler alert, Trick Williams did not win. At the end of the match, Booker T threw off his headset, and I was like, oh man, is this guy like actually mad? But the real story coming out of this is that I do think that now it's time for Trick Williams to go up, and I think the same can be said with Obafemi. I think those two guys both are main roster bound. There's nothing left for them to do in NXT. It is now time to let the up-and-comers come up, right? Obviously, we still have Ricky and we still have Ethan. Rightfully so. Cool. I'm happy with it. Trick Williams is somebody now who is ready for the main roster. He is now, it feels like it's become like a little played out with him on NXT. Like, it's like, okay, what are we keeping him here for? Are we just keeping him here to just say, oh, we still have Trick Williams? Or is it because we feel like he's still developing in some cases? And of course, I know he's not perfect and he's not all the way developed, but dude, there's numerous people that are on the main roster right now who aren't fully developed. Like, Trick Williams is somebody who is going to get over on the main roster. I'll be honest with you. That theme song alone is going to get over. Do I think he's going to go up as a heel? No. They're going to take him up as a babyface. 1,000%. The guy will be a babyface when he gets to the main roster. But I do believe that it is time for Trick to go up. And Ricky Saints, with him, man, I must say, this guy, outstanding. Love Ricky Saints. He is going to run NXT for quite some time. He is a great face of the company. If you go back and look at the contract signing between him and Trick Williams, you heard the passion in the promo. And even before the match, there was like a little vignette where both of them were kind of just talking trash to each other and whatnot. Really, I mean, Trick Williams telling, Ricky Saints, like, hey, I got here quicker than you did. You tried everything and you wanted this so bad and you could never get it. And Ricky Sainz, talking about his house being torn down by Katrina and so many things. Like, it was so exhilarating and so fun in that sense. But the match itself, overall, I mean, like I said, the last maybe like 2 minutes of the match was where it really picked up and was really exciting. Other than that, the match didn't really do much for me. I think the story did decently okay for me, but that not even was everything enough to get me fully involved, because I feel like there could have been more, like I said earlier. But ultimately, it was... I could see why they had it on there. I'll tell you that. I could see why they had that on the show. And then at the end, you would see TATUM PAXLEY. She would come out with the calling, and you kind of seen Izzy Dame like, I don't know, don't try, because the interviewer actually would come up to Izzy Dame and say, what was that out there? And Izzy was like, don't try and take the shine away from TATUM PAXLEY, blah, 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 all this stuff. And TATUM would run up to the camera and she, if you thought NXT was crazy, just wait until Tuesday. So that's how they ended up, that's how they finished the show. It was ultimately such a good show, fun show. I loved every single second about it. So all in all, a shock for sure. The show was a shock, because what was supposed to be a B-level pay-per-view, or PLE, ended up being something so fun, so exciting, like I said before earlier in the video, on just a random Tuesday where nothing crazy is going on. If you go watch this, even after the fact, you will find pure excitement from it. I loved Halloween Havoc, and normally we often do a rating system, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. I believe that there were only 2 periods where we had seen some kind of down point, whether that had been in the Blake Monroe situation or the Ricky Sainz, Trick Williams situation. Regardless of the fact, the show did everything that it needed to for me, and I'm happy. I'm satisfied. But really, it's about if you guys are satisfied. I want to know your guys' thoughts on Halloween Havoc. And honestly, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on the future of NXT going out of Halloween Havoc. You guys can let me know all of that down below in the comment section. Yes, I do know that there were other vignettes that did happen, but I really wanted to cover the show in its entirety in the sense of match purposes. Obviously, we seen like Kalani Jordan and Jordan Grace. We're going to get a match on Tuesday. We seen oh my God, Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne. We seen both of them, and we seen them have a segment backstage. And again, JEVON, Leon, there were numerous things that happened backstage. Lash Legend fighting for the Evolve Championship. So many different things, but ultimately, you guys can let me know your thoughts about NXT Halloween Havoc down below in the comment section. And if you guys are new here, all I ask is that you guys like this video and you guys subscribe to the channel, because we are making daily wrestling videos. Yes, we are posting legitimately every single day, and we are putting ourselves out there as much as we possibly can. So definitely make sure you guys do that. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys. So much love. All the socials are down below. Peace.